A, and we are recording live this evening. As you all can see, you're just hearing my voice, and that's for a very good reason. It's because your girl is coming down with some kind of flu, cold situation. It's been a rough past couple of days, so please excuse me for not being live with you where you can see me. I'm just, oh my God, all the way out of it right now, but that's okay because we're still gonna do this live thing as I promised to do because we have so much to catch up on. So tell your girl how you're feeling, what's going on with you, where are you in this part of the world, or where are you in your part of the world? Excuse me. Oh my God, that made me laugh. I'm such a nerd. Yeah, let me know where you are in your part of the world for sure. And then also, let's talk about these issues on tonight. Honey, we have so much to unpack. So wherever you are, stop what you're doing, send a message now. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And also let me know where you are watching me from or listening to me from, since you can't see my sexy face at the moment. But don't worry, don't worry, I definitely have a few videos to post up this evening, and I'm watching from my various devices. As you all know, as you all know, I have several devices that I operate from. So I get to watch your comments, see what you're saying. So don't you worry about a thing. I'm always watching, I'm always listening. And isn't it funny? Because that's where I am in my everyday life anyway. I'm always watching, I'm always listening. And sometimes people don't understand that, right? And sometimes people fail to understand that I'm not the only one always watching and always listening. Hence why we will be discussing what we're discussing this evening. We have several topics to discuss, and I'm hoping that all of you are having a super dope night. But I couldn't go to sleep with everything on my mind, no matter how I'm feeling, right? I wanted to make sure I am live, and straight litty with all of you, because again, tonight is one of those nights full of action. So let's basically start, right? Let's talk about yesterday. Drum roll, please. Yesterday was one of those days that's like out of a movie, and it's for a number of reasons why I say that. Hold on one second. Okay, this is not a bad view. I'm trying to get the Instagram together here. Hold on. And that's not a bad little view at all. Hold on, let me see if I can do this right here real quick, because I want my IG followers and family on with me. As you all know, I care for the people a whole lot, and I want them to be watching as well with all of you. So, as you guys know, I'm pretty vocal. I'm so vocal when it comes to politicking, and then when it comes to certain issues that are happening around the world, especially when it comes to politics, like in Georgia, for example, where we had the most intense runoff yesterday. But before we get to the runoff and how intense the runoff was, okay? What I wanted to talk about first and foremost, so we're live on Instagram as well. I got a little setup here. What I wanted to talk about, in regards to yesterday, before the runoff with Warnock as well as our guy, you know, um, Herschel Walker, who was put into office by the one and only Donald Trump, aka Mr. Orange, aka the Goodyear blimp, right? Honey, before I talk about the runoff, I want to talk about literally the situation that happened with Trump earlier yesterday afternoon. And the reason being is because God has a funny way. Hello, Mr. Glover. Good evening to you. God has a funny way of doing certain things, right? God is no respecter of humans. God don't care who you are. If you do wrong by his children and by his people, he is going to get you one way or the other. And tonight I got to talk about it because I don't know if you guys noticed what happened yesterday. Please tag a friend. Please share this with somebody. Mr. Glover, good evening to you. Welcome to the Anaya A platform. We are definitely going to get together very soon, God willing. And we're going to talk about different things that we have to talk about. And I guess you have a platform as well that you want me to contribute to and come on, and I will definitely talk with you more about that. I just have been feeling under the weather, obviously, with this rain and the craziness of like life or whatever. It's just been a lot going on. So as we're talking, right? You guys can join me too on the Zoom. Let me say something real quick. Join me on the Zoom if you want to be a part of this. Join me now. And all you gotta do is type in 436, right? 436-903 4, I think it's 4585 and you don't need a passcode at all. 4585, no passcode necessary. Okay, so real quick, guys, I don't know if you guys noticed because a lot of people did not even understand that on yesterday, look how prophetic this is. On yesterday, right, as we were going to this runoff, okay, I want you guys to catch this. As we're going into this whole runoff with Warnock and Herschel in Georgia, I don't know if you guys are aware that it was the same day and time that the Trump organization got slammed big. I'm talking about bigly. I'm talking about you guys. I don't know if you've been paying attention or what. A lot of people have not been paying attention, but your girl Anaya A has been paying attention to what's been happening. And literally, I'm here to tell you that the Trump organization is finally getting what it deserves, and the people are going down. So tonight, I wanted to play a clip for you as we get started and as we're rolling this thing, right? Because guess what? The person that's now responsible, I want you guys to catch this. The person who is responsible for bringing Donald Trump down through their office is none other, ready for this, than District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Now, who is Alvin Bragg, you may wonder? A lot of people don't know. Well, I'll give you some insight on Mr. Alvin Bragg. And Mr. Alvin Bragg is actually somebody I know very well. Mr. Alvin Bragg actually cares for the people. He's a brother. Let's start there. He's an African-American male. He has beautiful Black children, 2 sons, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Alvin Bragg, I met through the National Action Network through Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's network. And I kid you not, this brother is somebody that, none of us, I think, expected him to become the new DA of Manhattan. There has never been a Black DA, mind you, in Manhattan. And then not only that, but Alvin Bragg literally was up against the wall because he went against some really hard hitters. And when I mean hard hitters, I mean some key players in New York who were running for office for that seat. And I was sick to my stomach most days because I just did not see how this man could beat these people. But you know what's funny? God knew that Alvin Bragg was going to beat these people, and God allowed for Alvin Bragg to have so much energy and so much faith in the Lord and so much faith in what God was about to do that God allowed him to continue to move forward, and he was able to move forward, and he is now the new DA. So without further ado, and yes, I know Mr. Alvin Bragg very well. I never thought a day in my life I would see somebody that I know so well would be responsible for taking down Trump. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the brother who literally is responsible. His office is responsible for taking Trump down. And when I tell you guys, I am in a state of shock. I am literally in a state of shock. Good shock, mind you. Good shock. I am in a good state of shock. But it's just the mere fact that who would have thought that in our day and age, I would know somebody who is literally going to take down Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump, I think the man's name is, but it doesn't matter. Uh-oh. Hold on 1 second. My account is doing something weird. 1 second for me. Uh-oh. Let me see. Can you guys see me? Can you guys still see me on Facebook? Because I think there's an issue going on Facebook, and I've been restricted, it seems like. But that's okay, because what I'm going to do, even if you guys can't see me, is I'm going to continue with the show, right? And I'm going to play these video clips, and we will replay this literally on tomorrow. I'm restricted for 24 hours. That's okay, because we will definitely do this again. So here we go. Without further ado, let me share this screen and let me post what's happening in politics right now, whereas Donald Trump has to answer to Alvin Bragg. Can you guys believe that? Can you guys believe that? And here's the best, I would say, right? Because tomorrow I'll be able to post this on social media again, or what have you. But here is the best, the very best verbiage, the very best title that these people could come up with. It says guilty, Trump org convicted, victorious NY DA speaks out. So let's play that for you guys. And I'll be
Continuing
right
our
back.
coverage of a breaking story tonight, today's conviction of the Trump org for criminal tax fraud, conspiracy, and falsifying records is clearly a blow to Donald Trump's company, a legal and business fact, even as he tries to run for president. New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who assumed office earlier this year, led this prosecution. The DA of Manhattan almost always has a pretty full plate, but that's especially true right now as Bragg has been tackling crime, police reform, and of course, high-profile probes like this one. Bragg has said before that no one is above law.
This is the sort of work we do, ensuring that when a Manhattanite hands over money, that it actually goes out of folk streams. I led the team that held Trump and his children accountable for the misconduct of the Trump Foundation. In Manhattan and in New York, you will be held accountable for defrauding donors. I go where the facts go.
Register for an LLC in 4 easy steps. I got you. Go to Taylor Brands and let's officially form your business. Step 1. Choose a
Well, today a jury found the facts, convicted the Trump organization. Now, as is customary during a trial like this, Bragg talking in court. Tonight, he's now doing his first interview since the verdict right here on MSNBC on the Beat. DA Alvin Bragg, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Ari.
What does this conviction mean?
It's consequential in a number of ways. He convicted criminal convictions, contrast to prior civil matters. And the broader message, this was a case about cheating, lying, greed, the arguments you heard in the courtroom. So the message, as you played in the lead, with the Steve Bannon case, which brought other white collar matters, we have one standard of justice for all. He's in the kind of conduct of
You say you go where the facts are, and this is one of those interesting times where we had a witness on tonight, we had a pretty prominent attorney. People were asking questions and making comments about why you've done what you've done with your power. So now you get to respond to what some of them raise and what you're familiar with, which is for. And you had all this evidence. Why does it not lead to charging Donald Trump himself?
You know, as I said back in April in the statement, investigation's ongoing. Needed to focus on this and do what I thought the public servants in my office, a superb job they did in the courtroom. That was the focus that matters, why that part of the team was in court, you know, for the world to see and putting these facts out. We had other people back advancing the ball in other ways. So investigation is ongoing.
Is this conviction the end of the story or a building block?
We follow the facts, and this is part of a broader piece of work that we've been doing since I joined the office in January. A criminal conviction for the former president's namesake operations, but the work continues. The work never stops, and we're going to continue to do that. And there may be I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of the fact, but there may be other moments when we can report out publicly, like a indictment or some other way of closing the investigation.
With regard to Mr. Trump.
With regard to Mr. Trump.
In the trial, I referenced this and here's some reporting on it. One of your ADAs, so they're part of your strategy in this now victorious case, argued at the close that Trump had, quote, personal knowledge of the tax cheating carried out by executives, the ADA pointing to a document. We have this initialed by Trump. He called, quote, explicit proof of knowing his execs were tinkering with it. And you chose, and it's your office, you stand behind the courts, to introduce that in the trial. Doesn't that look to someone like Trump was in on it?
So I'm going to say his name. ADA Steinglass made that argument, did a superb job throughout trial. That argument was put to the jury and put very well. The defense, was raising and kind of putting out there saying that, Trump was not really trying to distance Trump from this. And so in rebuttal, we said, look, who hired these folks?
Right.
What are their roles? Who's setting the compensation structure? That argument in the context of the trial was that the former president sanctioned his conduct. That's a different argument from whether or not he's criminally liable himself.
For this conviction for the company. And what do you say to skeptics who look at this and say, wow, okay, you won on all counts legally. It's a big victory today. But skeptics say, is it really a big punishment or do corporate?
Right. I heard your prior guests talk about Trump University and Trump Foundation. I was in senior leadership at the AG's office. Those that led the Trump Foundation work. Very, very important, have a different. So to answer your question, yes, it's a maximum penalty of $1.6 billion. But consequences that flow, the chilling effect of the marketplace of having a criminal conviction, of cheating and lying and greed in Manhattan, all I think very, very important in and of itself. But as I said, it's also a chapter in a larger book and part of a broader investigation.
Your office is so powerful that when you hire someone, the benefit is we always try to do around here to address the headlines because maybe they're overwritten. But the Times had a big piece noting that you hired this DOJ veteran. Other folks have mentioned this. Does that mean other folks who your predecessor brought on, DA Vance, and sort of left after the Trump case? Does this headline mean there is an escalation of the Trump case, or is that really overwritten?
What it means is we are a phenomenal office that attracts phenomenal work at the New York Attorney General's office together on many matters, including foundation matter. He's coming in to help us on a broad range.
Well, it's not a Trump thing.
Well, I would say, without committing exactly, I'm not going to say the matter in particular he's working on for hours has been almost exclusively on Trump, but this is someone who's multifaceted. So he was the chief of staff to Tom Perez when he was the legal defense fund doing affordable housing. Senior, not just once, but twice in the Department of Justice, Civil Division and Civil Rights. So he's going to help us in a number of ways, and that's going to include our most sensitive white collar investigation.
And it's a degree that other prosecutors have not reached when you look at holding this company accountable. I wish I had you here every week. You make news. I want to turn it a challenge across the country. New York City is a big place, so it becomes kind of simple for that. What type of crime is rising in New York? Why is it rising? And where does that fit in with violent crime and guns? But also is trying to reform some of what you, as a candidate, called the kind of over-police.
So let me start with the violent crime. Very, very importantly, year to date, homicides in New York City are down. They're down even further in Manhattan. And shootings year to date are down citywide in the on those who drive violence. This is a very small percentage of the population that does the violent crime. We've been focusing, working with state and federal partners, gun trafficking, ghost guns, and all those messages that we talked about enough. Certainly, there are other issues that we need to continue to work on guns as well. Other issues that we need to drive down and get back to pre-pandemic election, and we're seeing it. So we have other initiatives. We're focusing, as you went to reform, we're focusing on in our office. We really deepened our mental health supports, alternatives to incarceration, really to stress, and trying to really reduce recidivism and increase public safety by connecting people to, for example, mental health. So these issues like I do. And so that's one example, as you mentioned before.
You look at Rikers Island, something we've covered. A lot of people who've looked at the issue say this is a broken
all right.
prison.
So we're just going to put a pause on that real quick and share, right? So thank you to those that are watching on Instagram presently. Just to let you know, I see you all who are watching, and I'm very appreciative. Myself and King are super appreciative because King is here with me. And yeah, so basically, as you guys can hear from our new DA and out of his office, Attorney Alvin Bragg, who happens to be an African-American brother, he is literally sharing that they're taking Trump down, and it's a victorious day for not just him, but for New York City as well as the world, because a lot of times people like Trump, people like Trump and in his caliber of being who he is, a rich person, somebody who has no morals or values, right? What they do is they feel like they can get away with murder. Matter of fact, Trump has said it himself that he literally can go on Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and he wouldn't be convicted. I think those are his words verbatim, but you can, of course, Google for yourself to figure it out, right? Exactly what Trump said many years ago on live platforms. Trump also stated something many years ago, guys, that if he ever were to run for office, that he would run for the Republican seat due to the fact that the Republicans are so stupid that they would vote for him. And as you guys can see, not only did Trump run on the Republican line, he won, he became a president of the United States after doing all the things that he has done. And then to make matters worse, he's killed many people because under his watch is when we had such things called the pandemic with all the different issues that took place and all the people that died during that time. So I want you guys to be very clear when you talk about Trump or when you listen to the number of stories surrounding Trump. That's one of them that, I want you guys to understand. Like, Trump knew what he was doing coming into this thing, and he still knows what he's doing. And it seems like nobody can stop Trump. Nobody can put an end to his madness because he has so many businesses, so many corporations, so many children, so many people working for him that it literally is like the hardest thing to bring this man down. And unfortunately, we've seen people and attorneys and so many different categories of officials and professionals trying to bring him down, and it hasn't gone very far. But the reason why we're talking about Trump today and playing this for you is because legit, yesterday, right, we got to see something historical where we say that Trump put Herschel Walker against the one and only Senator Dr. Pastor Reverend Raphael Warnock, right? Raphael G. Warnock, to be exact, the pastor of the historical Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Ebenezer Baptist Church on Auburn Avenue in downtown Atlanta. And guess what? Another Trump candidate literally lost big, like hugely, like he would say, like hugely. And with that being said, I'm just so happy that Herschel Walker lost yesterday, right? Because as you guys can see, Herschel Walker was an insult to all of America, but predominantly to Black America, Black people. And Trump thought in his mind it would be great to put this man on this platform because he thought Herschel Walker was really going to win. He really put his eggs in that basket and thought this fool was going to beat, the other candidates, and he beat, Raphael Warnock. But as we can see, that didn't happen. So isn't it interesting that, and this is why I put these two situations in one category, isn't it very interesting that Trump's pick for Georgia State Senator Herschel Walker gets defeated, and on the same day, there's a guilty verdict for Trump's organization, a conviction, and people are turning against Trump every moment of the day. So yesterday was a bad day for Trump. I know it was. I know he was sulking in Mar-a-Lago. I know he was pulling out his hair. I know he's blaming his wife Melania for everything, as he often does, like what just happened in Philly with Dr. Oz, and Fetterman. Trump blamed Melania for that, right? So I had to talk about those issues, and then I had one other subject, but since Facebook is not allowing me to stay live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this next segment when I'm allowed to go back live on social media. But for now, we're just going to keep it at these two issues: the Donald Trump organization going down, which I'm so happy about, and then of course We're also going to keep it in regards to Warnock beating Herschel Walker in Georgia. And then when we come back, we can play that clip in regards to the Chrisleys. But I'll share this part with you very briefly. The Chrisleys and Trump are legit in the same category. This is why I have a problem with a lot of people in America who do not see the writing on the wall. You know, my mom called me earlier today and she's like, be careful what you put on social media. And I know I should be more careful, right? Oh, my son is like, yeah, mom, be more careful, right? I know I should be more careful for sure in regards to putting, you know, stuff that I feel on social media, but I can't help it because look at what the Chrisleys did and why they're going to jail for a number of years. The Chrisleys legitimately took millions from the banks, forged documents, evaded tax, right? They didn't have to pay taxes on the money that they were stealing. And they were on national television with their schemes and their lies because they're white. If a Black person even remotely tried, well, first of all, I can't even say if we tried because we can't try these things because anybody that looks like myself or Alvin Bragg, we have to go through hell. We have to jump through hoops to get anywhere in life. And when we finally do get there, we're still going through hell. So we'll be back tomorrow with more about the Chrisley case because I find it rather interesting and intriguing that these people went for years without getting caught. And even after they got caught, they still tried to lie. But you know what? Shame on them because all of their records are being revealed by their accountants and all those who work for them. So it's your girl and I, a live reporting in regards to Donald Trump, Herschel Walker, the Reverend Senator Dr. Raphael G. Warnock of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the Chrisleys, and of course, tomorrow I will be back live since today this platform decides to shut me down. So thank you so much for tuning in for right now. And again, Anaya A will be back tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more updates for all of you amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and we'll be back tomorrow.